I'm digital anchor Andre Ash of the Michigan Chronicle, and we present to you Bridging the Gap in Fishing and Hunting in our community. Presented to you by Michigan Wildlife Council. We want to talk about the underrepresentation when it comes to hunting and fishing, and also the benefits of fishing and hunting, and how we get more people of color that look like us into the sport. And joining us to talk more about it and have this wide open conversation is a great panel of guests. We present to you Warren Evans, the Wayne County executive. We also have Tamone Martin. He is the CEO of Mone Jones Entertainment. We also have Tracy Webb. She is the founder of We're Fixin to Fish. Interested to learn more about that. And also Franklin Hayes, Deputy Chief of the Detroit Police Department. Thank you all for being with us here. I think this is going to be a great conversation. First, let's start with Tracy Webb, because I'm interested to know what inspired you to create this group and organization to get more people who look like us into this sport. Because I can tell you, it wasn't a sport for me growing up.
I understand that. My brother, Kevin, gathered the whole family. Like, come on, we're going to eat today.
Uh-huh.
So the whole family would gather nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters. My mother retired from the Michigan Chronicle. She would leave work and just join us and watch from afar. And so we all branched off together, fishing on our own with our grandchildren. And with me, last year, just children, I would look around and there'd be kids just standing there, staring, asking. I never fished before, and then a twinkling of my eye said, listen, your grandchildren are privileged. Okay. One of the kids grabbed a fishing rod out the garbage my grandson had put in the garbage and he ran with it. Mama,
Yeah,
I got a fishing rod. And I said, come back, take mine. And
yeah,
from then on, my sister said, teach the other kids. Why can't they know?
yeah.
So,
And I'm interested to get everyone's connection or involvement into fishing or hunting, and briefly describe how you were connected to this sport. Deputy Chief Hayes, you said that we were talking earlier that fishing and hunting, you love both. There's a connection for you with both of them.
Yeah, it's been a lifelong tradition of my family, 4 generations thus far, and I've got a brand new nephew who will be turning 2 this year. That we hope to introduce as the 5th generation of the Hayes family. That's a part of the wildlife and enjoying everything that wildlife here, certainly in our state, has to offer.
Hmm.
Spent a lot of time on the Detroit River, which is an amazing fishery. 2 historic runs that people travel from far and wide just to come and enjoy, actually right in downtown Detroit, to enjoy one of the greatest fisheries there is, and that's the historic walleye run that happens in the April every spring, as well as the white bass run that happens from that May to June window. And it's a tradition. Family who have come and have left Michigan still find their way back to Michigan around those times to enjoy the tradition. So it is
Yeah.
near and dear to my heart and will always be.
Yeah, I mean, fishing was definitely near and dear to my dad's heart. I mean, he tried to get me out on the riverfront when I was younger as a kid, probably 6 or 7 years old, and I caught my very first fish. It was a big one. I'm sure it weighed a bit heavier than me. And once I caught it, I screamed to my parents and said, "Hey, hey, I got something!" But it almost scared me to death, and I never did it again. But anyhow, let's get to Wayne County Executive Warren Evans, because behind the public figure that you have, where people have seen you in multiple roles, from current position now as Wayne County Executive to police chief prior, and sheriff, county sheriff. What people probably don't know is, you're a wildlife man. I mean, fishing and hunting, and then even horses.
Yeah, I'm an
You have
outdoors
a love
guy.
for.
Yeah. I'm an outdoors guy, and I kind of like Tracy. Got it early from family members. My family used to drag me to Idlewild, Michigan, since I was 6 months old on Lake Ottawa in Lake County. And I mean, from sunup to sundown, we wandered around in the woods, we fished, and we did that until I was old enough to buy a cottage. And I did the same and raised my girls that way. So, I mean, that's always been, a real passion for me. But I think one of the reasons it was that is I kind of was privileged to be able to do it. Had parents or uncles who took me, off the concrete and put me on the grass. And, not everybody has that. And so what Tracy's doing is so important because it creates an opportunity for kids to like it, latch onto it, and then they'll drag their parents. I mean, It doesn't always have to be the parents doing the dragging, but, the kids that have that opportunity, I think, is tremendously great. And, I also like the hunting and shooting sport. I'm not an avid hunter, but clay targets. And, my friend here on the panel, Deputy Chief Hayes, is he'll never tell you, but he's probably one of the best clay target shooters I've ever seen.
Okay.
And he's helped get me indoctrinated into being a better shooter. And as he said, the clay pigeons take flight like birds. So it's like grouse hunting or pheasant hunting, but in a different kind of environment.
See, I never thought the many stories I've covered with the police that and me and Hayes having discussions and run-ins that our next conversation will be about fishing and hunting. But here we are, and to talk more about that is we have Tamone Martin. And how long have you been fishing and hunting, and why do you keep going? Why do you keep at it?
I've been fishing and hunting fishing all my life since a kid. I feel like I've been fishing since before I've been able to ride a bike without training wheels. And the real funny, interesting story is that I recall as a kid in elementary school, talking to my mom and like, where's my dad? Well, talking in reference to my granddad. I call my granddad and my mom and dad. So she's like, he's going fishing. Man, I bust out boo-hooing crying. Like, how could you leave me? Like, dude, you couldn't wait till I get out of school to take me? Like, that's one of the memories that's going to always stick with me. So, I try to instill that in my kid. And I since my son was little, which he's 21 now, I took him fishing and things like that. Like, fishing is one of the, like, it's a great thing. But now as an adult, just like how Deputy Chief spoke to be honest, I only go fishing 2 times. Well, I only go fishing during 2 seasons. I'm not about to be out there in August, sitting out there for 45 minutes waiting on one fish. I like to go doing a run.
So when are the seasons?
Well, no, I mean, the season is, of course, this is Michigan, so the summer. But we're talking about those particular runs that the Deputy Chief spoke to. Those runs, you are guaranteed to catch a fish. You can catch a fish with your eyes closed. And if you can't catch a fish, then we can't say you don't know what you're doing, because you can catch a fish without knowing what you're doing. If you can't catch a fish during those times, just go sit in the car, go fix some sandwiches, go get us some food or something.
Now, I know this is a conversation about how we can involve more people who look like us into this sport, particularly when it comes to fishing. Is any one of you going out fishing with the ice, snow covered on the river?
We are.
You are.
Yes.
Wow. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that, Tracy, because I don't know.
But, hey, Tracy, you gotta. Even though Tracy invited me, Tracy, we gotta get the Wayne County exec. We gotta get the deputy chief. We gotta get all these people, and we gotta get them out there, because I've never been ice fishing. I've never.
Yeah.
I think we don't trust the ice.
See, that's a game changer.
Let me just say this. I interrupted. I won't interrupt anymore. I worked on the patrol boats for the county when I was a young man. I can't tell you how many ice flows I pulled people off ice fishing.
Wow.
So you do have to make sure the ice is solid. Not trying to create a downer, Tracy, but I mean, I've seen people floating up and down the river. Went out ice fishing and wound up we had to reel them in.
Hey, Colin, so does that mean you've never been ice fishing too?
No, I've been ice fishing, but you know what?
But not right.
When I finished with that auger,
Yeah.
If that ice ain't 2
That's
feet
it.
deep, I'm not out there.
Right.
Right. I completely get it. So Tracy, let me sweep back over to you. Do you hope fishing gains popularity and become more accessible to people within our community?
Absolutely. And that's why we're planning our first ice fishing event. We're teaming with Friends of Rouge Park. That pond is only 2 to 3 feet. And so I have charter boat captains, us, taking the lead on the ice. It's going to be a winter fest. They're going to ice fish with the professionals. This is my first time ice fishing also, but we're going to let them take the lead on the ice. We're going to have snow sledding, horse petting. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Rouge Park, but we're going to go out there on the ice, spend about 30 minutes top. It might be 2 kids out there because of the fear. And that's what I get back from the parents. Even some of the hunters and the charter boat captains. Oh, no, we don't mess with the ice.
Yeah.
But we, Tamone, I like to fish. If the fish not biting, I'm just a nature person. I'm just, I watch the birds and just waiting on that fish. It's time away. It gives you patience and a piece of serenity and just so much of fishing. I can catch a fish and put it in the bucket and, I
Right.
got mine, let's go. No, but I love to be on the water. It doesn't matter. Like today, I want to hurry this up so I can go to the water.
But
Real
I
quick,
want to get back to the deputy chief for a second because Deputy Chief Hayes, do you think if people knew more about the benefits of fishing and hunting, that more Black people would explore the sport? Because definitely, I mean, you were teaching Wayne County executives some things.
Wow. Absolutely. It's two areas of focus when we talk about growing the numbers in the outdoor and enjoying everything the outdoor has to offer. The first is opportunity and exposure. A lot of times in these urban settings, in these urban areas, the backdrop to hunt or even to fish that water, not knowing what to access or how to do it, that's they don't, without that exposure, that kind of limits your pool of those that participate. So we have to reach back, bring someone with us, introduce someone new. Every time we hit the shore, stop at the bait shop, the boat leaves the dock, bring someone new and introduce them and exposing them. On the other side, when you talk about hunting, oftentimes in our community, there is a tragic introduction to firearms that often stokes fear and disdain for firearms that it can't even to fathom something could be done with recreation and fun with the firearm because of that tragic introduction. So this is a great opportunity to shift the paradigm and introduce others. We talk about hunting. I would be with you on the ice, but that goes into my bird hunting season, or else I'd be there. And if the dates line up, I will come and support from the shore, but I will come. But and for those that don't are uncomfortable or have to work their way up to harvesting an animal, as the county executive mentioned, there's clay target shooting, which mimics, a bird in flight. That will get you into the hunting mindset or just seeing what that has to offer. So again, exposure, certainly the education piece, and shifting that paradigm are going to be huge. Obstacles to get to that we see, which is why the numbers are where they are now.
Yeah. Well, one evidence, I think a common misconception about hunting is that meat goes to waste. However, many hunters donate meat to local food banks to benefit underserved communities. In an environment of higher food prices, talk about the economic impact of this sport as well.
Overstated. I think if you really want to see some food go to waste, stand out behind a restaurant after it closes at 9 o'clock. I don't think that's the big issue at all. I mean, I think most hunters harvest what they shoot and they eat it. And more importantly, I think than that is for young people, it creates a self-sufficiency that you don't get with many other things. It creates a discipline, which is tremendously important. Hunting and fishing are kind of like individual sports and team sports at the same time, because you have friends and camaraderie together. If you're operating a boat, it's a team effort. There are a lot of things that go into it. And so, I think for those of us who play target shoot, I mean, just the act of the shooting and cracking the target is an accomplishment for us. So we enjoy it, and it's outdoors, and it's something to do. And one thing I've seen over my entire life with children of color is if they see someone else doing it, then they believe they can do it. And oftentimes they're motivated to do it. So what Tracey is doing is creating just that opportunity for one to get into something, kind of looking over the shoulder of others and deciding, well, this is something I want to try to do. And when you catch a fish, you catch a fish. I mean, two analogies I will give you real quick. All right. Anybody who's put a leg on over a horse considers himself a rider. Not true. Everybody who throws a hook into the water is not a fisherman. But in both cases, they're having fun, they're enjoying life, they're doing something. But you can take fishing to a whole different level in terms of baits and times you fish and the electronics on the boats and all of those sorts of things. So the learning curve can go on your whole life if you like it. But if you just want to go out on a Saturday for recreation, as Tamone said, and you go at the right time, you can grab a fish with your hand. You're going to catch something, not quite with your hand, but
let me tell you something. The sport sounds fun. The weather just got to be right for me.
You got to man up a little bit, Andre. You got to put on a nice pull down cap and go with the right people. So half of it is the conversation and the camaraderie.
Yeah, and I like the benefits of what this sport offers as well. But Tamone, what have you begun to see more people who look like you and I into this sport? Because I guess it depends on where you go as well. I mean, if you're fishing in Detroit versus if you're on the west side of the state, but just in general, have you begun to see more people, Black people, who enter the sport? As how your father or parents have introduced it to you.
I feel like what I don't see is a lot of young adults. But as far as Black people, African Americans, absolutely. Like, this is Detroit. So, I mean, you go down to the Detroit River, that's all you see on the shore. Now, I will speak to as far as boating. Now, we don't have a huge representation on the water when it comes to fishing. In that aspect, now, during, when you go out there and you're, at those ramps, at those launch ramps and all that and things like that, it's definitely not a lot of us that's out there with fishing boats. You know what I'm saying? We got the boats to hang out and, on the water, but not in regards to the sport of fishing. Now, in regards to hunting, that's a whole different realm as well. Yeah. I think when it comes to hunting, there's just kind of like hunting is more, I don't want to say privatized, but it's like private in the sense of, your group is your group. You know what I mean? Like, I think I as far as hunting go with us, we have a core group of about 15 people. We have a cottage up north as well. Spoke to just like the Wayne County exec said. So we're actually not too far from you. We're over in Leroy, which is not too far from Idlewild and just south of Charlevoix, just a little north of Big Rapids. So we're above the rifle line. So that's what I love, because we get to shoot the rifle where down here in the southern part of Michigan, you can only use a shotgun. So, but yeah, so you definitely, when it comes to our color, when it comes to fishing, we're definitely represented out there. It's just not the younger generation of people.
It's interesting because I've been to Ottawa multiple times. I've been up north for camping many times. I haven't done any of these things. But anyhow, we won't talk about me. Deputy Chief Hayes, the COVID-19 pandemic, it has increased deer sightings in neighborhoods across Metro Detroit. Do you believe if people understood the correlation between hunting and deer overpopulation, that they would likely be more involved in the sport?
I agree. And again, it's an untapped resource. And again, educating them that we're not won't. The deer population in Michigan will not become extinct. It's managed very well by the Department of Natural Resources, and to see that overgrowth, and when we see deer in areas that are we've never seen before. I was visiting a friend just outside of Oakland County in the Southfield area, and turkeys were crossing 12 mile. Telegraphing 12 mile, just walking across the street, and they were in the crosswalk too. And just to see that, and again,
they were in their own lane.
That they were, but just to see that, I think educating the community as to the impact of hunting and fishing, and it's not bad. It is a balanced population would address issues just as you mentioned.
Yeah. Tracy, I'll wrap this up and pass the mic to everybody real quick with a final word. What role has fishing played in creating lasting traditions for your family?
Oh, well, we want to push this out to the community, what we experience. I have 4 grandsons who teach grown men how to fish when they come to the events. So we want to spread this out to the community to give them a new hobby. And so maybe they, instead of hanging at the park to, whatever, they can go and just sit at the water and bring food home from, for their families. There's other things to do. And some children haven't left the block.
Yeah.
We want to change.
And speaking of that public profile facing figure that people see of you, Wayne County Executive Warren Evans, I got to ask this. Because given your effectiveness of your no drama approach to governing the state's largest county, do you apply that same method when hunting?
Hunting and fishing, I think I kind of do. I'm a, kind of a no nonsense guy. I mean, I think people that know me know sometimes you can't stop me from laughing and playing if I know you. It's just a little introverted by nature.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that, and when we're talking about this, a thing to remember is even when it comes to fishing and hunting, people of color do not have the same access to the resources available that others do. And that's why what Tracey does with groups, and I think what Tamone is doing when he says he goes hunting with 15 guys, trust me, one of the reasons he goes hunting with 15 guys is he's somewhere and the only 15 guys that look like him came with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reality is the comfort level is not the same for people of color in many places to go hunt. But the more we go together and the more we talk about it and find spots that we go to together, the more the opportunity is to not be as fearful. Maybe fearful is not the right word, but you know what I mean. Some apprehension about being somewhere that you're not sure you're going to be readily accepted. But you are by the group you come with.
Yeah. Tamone, when is the next outing with the group? Your final words.
Well, opening day was last Monday. So we went up we went up on Sunday to prepare for Monday for opening day. So right now, firearm season just kicked off. So I think we have another week or so to go firearm season, but it's hunting season right now. We might be able to go out and get something in time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because is this the season that's here? Is it being prepared for Thanksgiving dinner? But I'll leave the final word to Deputy Chief Hayes. Where do we go from here, and how we get more people who look like us involved in the sport?
Wow. Well, thank you. And to my colleagues on this panel, it's been a pleasure to certainly introduce to others, remind a few as well of what the outdoors in Michigan has to offer. As a member of the Michigan Wildlife Council, we pride ourselves on making sure that the wildlife here in Michigan is accessible and available to all. To those that used to do it, used to be a tradition, I invite you to revisit it. To those that continue to do it, take a new friend with you, introduce it to someone else, again, to help grow this sport, to help share and create the memories, the long-lasting memories that, again, last through generations. It is a decision that you certainly won't regret, and I hope to see you out in the field or on the water.
This was a great conversation, and you know what? When the weather is right, it inspires me to get out and probably hit the river again and do something I haven't done in probably over 20 years, and that's fish.
Looking forward to it. Got a seat on the boat for you, Andre.
All right, I'm gonna take you up on that. Warren Evans, accounting executive for Wayne, Tamone Martin, CEO of Mone Jones Entertainment, Tracy Webb, founder of We're Fixin to Fish. Probably have to come join your group one day, and also Franklin Hayes, Deputy Chief of the Detroit Police Department. Appreciate you all having this discussion. It's been a good one, an informative one, and hopefully inspires people to really get out and enjoy the outdoors. For more information on how you can become involved in the sport and learning more about what the outdoors has to offer, the wildlife that is, check out hereformioutdoors.org. That is hereformioutdoors.org. This has been a great conversation. Make sure you get outdoors and have some fun. I'm digital anchor Andre Ash for the Michigan Chronicle. This session, Bridging the Gap, Fishing and Hunting in Our Community, has been brought to you by Michigan Wildlife Council.